So my meditation I do in the morning, so I have the lights off. So this is not the typical environment, but I would have all the lights off and in a quiet environment. First of all, I turn on my living crystal, and there's two sides to it. So you can see one side has the wire coming up this way, and one side doesn't. My preference, and I'll explain why, is to have the wire that goes up in front of me. And working with you, John, we were able to try different types of stones to say which one had the most powerful effect for me. And this particular stone, even though it doesn't fit perfect in here, it doesn't matter, because it's the whole idea. In this case, this particular stone fits my personality and my needs. So with the first thing I do is I get the alignment of the device. I get it approximately 1 meter away from me. I found that this is the ideal distance for me because I've tried further and I've tried closer. And then I've also developed a particular meditation technique that I've used. It's self-created, but it comes from different parts of different meditations that I've learned from different people. And so the first thing I do is I relax. I sit like this. I've had a couple of back surgeries and I got a lot of broken parts of my body, so I find it more comfortable to sit on a sofa, and I use the pillows. I don't know if you can see them, but pillows here, and I have a little back support here. It just happens to be very comfortable for me because I believe that you want to be physically comfortable when you start the meditation. So with that, first thing I do is I have the alignment, and then what I do is I start to close my eyes and I adjust the tilt of my head, because the idea is, what I found that works for me perfectly is I can see a ray of light coming from the crystal. So there's going to be two things. One is I want to get that ray of light coming to my body, and I can actually see it. I can't see it now in the daytime, but if it's dark, I can actually see it, and I can see it wants to get closer and closer and closer until finally it touches me. And I do that by adjusting my eyes and adjusting the tilt of my head. So I will close my eyes, not all the way, but enough so that I get maybe a little amplification from the tear in my eye. And I will adjust the tilt of my head. And this I've taught other people how to do, and you can actually adapt to it your own way. But I'll close my eyes maybe 90-95% of the way. I'll start to tilt my head, and then I'll see this ray of light coming out. And I think most people will be able to do this. And you'll see the ray of light first. It might just be part of the way. And then eventually when you tilt your head and you adjust your eyes, you'll feel it come, and you'll see it come all the way to your chest. And so this was self-created. I just kind of started to do it. And when I got that ray of light to my chest, I was like, wow, I feel like suddenly this connection. The second thing I do is also, because the light emanates and goes through the stone, I can see an aura around the stone. And this aura to me is the energy field that connects me to the device, to the universe. And that to me is the whole objective of starting the meditation. So that's the first step, is to get that connectivity. And once I get it, I can hold it. Then what I do is I have a sequence of meditative steps that I do. These again are taken from different places. One teacher that I learned from went to the Oneness University in India, learned a certain meditation technique. I studied and also practiced what's called Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono was a belief system where you say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, but we focus on things. I'll take you through that. I focus on gratitude, and then I set a powerful intention for the day. But I start with a series of 4 different breathing techniques, breathing exercises. And the first one is just basically, they're all sets of 8. So I will do 1 set of 8 while I have this connection to my chest with the ray of light and the aura around the stone connecting to the universe. So I start just like a normal person, breathing deep, circular breathing through your stomach, back up through, and I'll do that for 8 repetitions. But I won't start that until I make sure that I have this connection. The second thing I do is I do another set of 8, but when I inhale and I exhale, I hum at a kind of a natural frequency for me. I don't think the frequency is so important as much as the humming itself. And so I do that for 8 repetitions. The third thing I do is I breathe in, I hold for about 5 seconds, and then I exhale. But when I do that, I'm thinking different things. Like, for example, I'm breathing in happiness. I'm holding it, and I'm breathing out sadness. I'm breathing in insecurity. And I'm breathing out security. So anything that's positive, I breathe in, and anything that might be contained inside me that's negative, I breathe out. But I hold it for 5 seconds, so it's almost like an explosion of like sadness just leaves me, or insecurity leaves me, or whatever the negative feeling is. So I do that for 8 times. The next thing I do, there's 3 basic sounds that every human makes when they're born. And this is what the foundation of almost all religions is based on. And you'll hear this when you hear people chanting, or even some religions such as Christianity, they say amen, but it's actually amen, and it's actually derived from and so I will breathe in, and then I will breathe out. So maybe 4 or 5 seconds for each of the 3 sounds, and then I do that for 8 cycles. Next thing I do is I enter into my gratitude phase. So my gratitude phase is I want to say thank you for 2 things. One is what's already happened, maybe that is good in my life, but I also use what I call graffirmation, which is to say I'm affirming something that will happen by saying thank you in advance that it's already happened, and I believe that it will happen, but I don't say, gee, thanks, I would like this in my life, but instead I say thank you so much, meaning it's already happened, even though it hasn't happened. So I would say thank you so much for blah, 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 having John as a friend, or thank you so much for John. Matter of fact, the first time I started the meditation, I usually meditate 5:30 in the morning, and I remember I forgot to turn my notification off, and I was saying, it was the first or second time I had the device, and I said, thank you, John, for creating this great, brilliant device to allow me to connect to the universe to enhance my meditation. And within minutes, John sent me a message, and it was like he felt this connection to me, and this was just a very random time and a random thought, but it happened to be a connection at the same time. So I go through again, thank you for maybe something that's really happened really good, but also thank you for what is going to happen, believing that it's already happened. The next thing I do is I enter into my Ho'oponopono phase. Again, it doesn't matter how many times you say thank you and how many things you think about past and future, but for me it's more just get whatever is off in your chest and get it off your chest one at a time. Then I go into the Ho'oponopono phase, and when I do this, I'm not communicating to a person, I'm communicating with the universe. So I would say things like, I am so sorry for X. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And what this does is it starts to release and bring us back to a zero state. Joe Vitale wrote a brilliant book called Zero Limits, and the book was based on a Hawaiian belief system called Ho'oponopono. So I studied that under Joe Vitale and got certified in Ho'oponopono, but I believe that using these 4 powerful phrases also helps me with my life. So again, I'm sorry for whatever, hurting other people. Please forgive me for hurting other people. Thank you so much. I love you. And so I keep it as simple as that. Maybe I will do anywhere from 4 to 6 different things that happens to be on my mind at that time. And then the last thing I do is I state what is going to be a powerful intention for the day. And I'll say, today, thank you so much for me being super focused or absorbing a lot of information or helping another person or whatever. But I'll set a powerful intention for the day of something that I really want to accomplish. Can be anything. Then at the end, again, the light still being connected to my chest, the aura. Sometimes I'll sit there and I can look into the light and I can look up through the stone and I can see the universe, which is quite beautiful because you can see it in 3 dimensions. It's going to be, you're going to see just the depth and the massness of the entire universe, all the stars, the blackness of it and everything. But I can actually physically see it through this light, through the stone, into the universe. And then at the end, because I've studied Buddhism also, and I live in Thailand, we have a traditional, what we call Y, and that's just a sign of respect and thankful. So I basically close the meditation, and when I do it, I start with my hands down here and I bring it up, and as soon as I do that, it breaks the light, so that I formally kind of end the meditation. So I break the light, and then I open my eyes, and then there's no more ray of light coming to me. So it's a very sequenced thing that I've developed by myself over years, using different techniques from different people. So hopefully that helps, and if you have any questions, just ask.
Thank you.